My girlfriend banned me from her birthday and said, "You can't come to my party. My ex will be there and it will be awkward," even though I paid for the dinner. Her family supported it to pressure me into a divorce that benefits her. I was turning 43 today, and my wife could not even pretend to care about sharing breakfast on my birthday. The irony was not lost on me. My name's is Eli Brox, the guy who fixed everyone's broken appliances, unable to repair his own broken marriage. Happy birthday to me, I muttered, scraping the congealed eggs into the garbage disposal. The sound it made as it ground up my pathetic attempt at a celebration seemed appropriate. Before I go deeper into the story, I have a small request. Please subscribe, leave a like, and tell me in the comments from which city you are watching this. Caroline came in like a whirlwind, wearing that designer dress I had bought her for our anniversary last year, the one she said made her feel confident and beautiful. Apparently, it also made her feel like she could trample on her husband's feelings. "Oh, Eli, about tonight," she said without even looking at me as she grabbed her purse. "I cannot go to your birthday dinner. Derek is going to be at the restaurant with some clients, and you know how awkward that would be." Derek, her college ex-boyfriend, who had mysteriously reappeared in our lives 6 months ago. The same Derek she had sworn she had blocked on social media after I expressed my concerns about their friendship. "You mean the Derek you promised me you would cut contact with?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. 20 years of marriage had taught me that raising my voice with Caroline only gave her ammunition to paint me as the unreasonable one. She rolled her eyes, that practiced look of exasperation she had perfected over the years. "God, Eli, you are so paranoid. He is just a friend. Besides, I already told Miranda I would meet her for a drink tonight. Girls' night, you know." Miranda, Caroline's oldest and most complicit friend, who had never liked me from day one. The woman who had convinced Caroline that marriage was about maintaining your independence and not letting your husband control you. "Of course," I said, "girls' night on my birthday. Do not be so dramatic. We can celebrate tomorrow night." She kissed my cheek with all the warmth of a business transaction. "I have to go. Big presentation today." As her heels clicked on our hardwood floors I had restored myself last summer while she was working late more and more often, I felt something cold settle in my chest. It was not exactly anger, it was recognition. The kind of clarity that comes when you finally admit what you have been trying not to see. I walked to my workshop in the garage, where I had planned to spend the morning before our dinner reservation. The familiar smell of motor oil and metal shavings used to calm me, but today everything felt different, sharper, more focused. My phone vibrated. Lenny, my part-time assistant at the repair shop. "Hey boss, happy birthday. Are you coming in today or taking the day off to celebrate with the missus?" "Change of plans," I told him. "Caroline is busy tonight. Do you mind if I stop by the shop? I have nothing else to do." "Sure, man. That is a bummer. Want me to bring some beers? We can close early and have our own party." Lenny was 25. He still believed in things like loyalty and keeping your word. I envied his innocence. "Actually, Lenny, can you do me a favor? You know that place Caroline likes, the Lakeside Grill? Swing by there around 7 tonight. I'm just curious about something." Sure, boss. Is everything okay?" "Probably not, but it will be. I spent the day at Brock's Electronics fixing other people's problems. A coffee maker that would not brew, a laptop that would not start, a TV that showed everything in green. Simple problems with simple solutions, not like marriages, where the problems were complex and the solutions involved lawyers and divided assets. Around 6:30 I was closing up when Lenny called. "Boss, you are not going to like this." I already knew I would not. "Tell me, your wife is here at the lakeside, but she is not with Miranda. She is with a fancy-looking guy in an expensive suit. They are holding hands across the table, very lovey-dovey." "Derek, of course it was Derek. Have they seen you?" "No, I'm parked across the street." "Do you want me to take pictures?" "No, thanks, Lenny. I will take it from here." But I did not take it. Not yet. Instead, I drove home and did something I had never done in 20 years of marriage. I looked at Caroline's laptop. She had left it open on the kitchen counter, probably in her rush to get ready for her girls' night. The password was still our anniversary date. Either she was careless or she wanted to get caught. A part of me hoped it was the latter. At least that would mean she felt guilty about something. It did not take me long to find what I was looking for. A folder called Travel Plans contained photos that made my stomach churn. Caroline and Derek at various restaurants in town. Caroline and Derek in a cabin I did not recognize. Caroline and Derek in bed together. She was wearing lingerie I had never seen before. The timestamps on the photos went back 3 months. 3 months of lies, 3 months of working late and girls' nights. And you are being paranoid, Eli. But it was the text messages that really twisted the knife. Derek, I cannot wait to have you all to myself this weekend. Caroline, tell the husband you are visiting your sister. Derek, it is already done. He is so clueless. It is almost sad. Sometimes I wonder what I saw in him. Caroline, soon you will not have to wonder anymore. Just a little longer, and we can make it official. Derek, I know. I just need to find the best way to handle the divorce. My lawyer says if I can prove he is emotionally abusive, I will get more in the settlement. Caroline, is he abusive? Derek, he will be by the time I'm done. I took screenshots of everything. 20 years of marriage, and she was planning to destroy me for a man she had been sleeping with for 3 months. A man who probably saw her as nothing more than a convenient midlife crisis. My phone rang. Caroline, hi honey. I just wanted to let you know I will be late tonight. Miranda is having problems with her boyfriend and needs to talk. Of course, I said in a steady voice. Take your time. I have plenty to keep me busy. You are not mad about dinner, are you? We will do something special tomorrow. I promise. Promises from a woman who had been lying to me for months while planning to frame me as an abuser in the divorce proceedings. I'm not mad. Caroline, I'm just disappointed. Oh, do not be like that. You know I love you, right? Yes, I said, looking at the photos on her laptop screen. I know exactly how much you love me. After she hung up, I sat in our kitchen for a long time, thinking. Caroline thought I was a fool. Derek thought I was a pushover. Miranda thought I was beneath her friend's attention. Heck, maybe the whole town thought I was just another middle-aged guy too stupid to see what was happening right under his own nose. They were all about to find out how wrong they were. I packed a bag and drove to the Sleep Inn, a motel near my shop. The clerk, a kid named Tommy who had graduated with Lenny, recognized me. Hey, Mr. Brox. Fixing the ice machine again. Something like that, I said. I need a room for a few days, maybe longer. Everything okay at home? It will be. The next morning I called in sick to my own shop for the first time in 5 years. Lenny could handle the simple repairs, and I had a more important job to do, the kind of job that required patience, planning, and a deep understanding of my target's weaknesses. My first stop was Meiji's Tavern, the kind of dive bar where the coffee was strong, the gossip was stronger, and the waitress had been serving the same clientele for 20 years. Meiji Sullivan knew everyone's business in town, and she was not shy about sharing it with the right people. Well, she said as I slid onto a bar stool at 10 in the morning. If it is not the birthday boy, should you not be at work? Took the day off. Caroline and I are having some problems. Meiji poured me a coffee without being asked. She was in her 60s, had survived 3 divorces, and had no patience for cheating spouses of any gender. Problems? Huh. That would not have anything to do with her. And that real estate big shot. Derek Foster, right? So it was not just Lenny who had noticed. You know about that, honey? Everyone knows, except you, apparently. She leaned over the bar, lowering her voice. They have been hooking up for months, and pretty careless about it, too. Acting like teenagers at the grocery store, holding hands at the movies. Your wife is not as smart as she thinks she is. What else do people know? That she has been telling people you are controlling and paranoid. Miranda has been spreading that story all over town, painting you as some kind of jealous monster. Of course, most people with half a brain can see through that nonsense. You are a lot of things, Eli Brox, but an abuser is not one of them. The pieces were falling into place. Caroline was not just cheating, she was systematically destroying my reputation to build her divorce narrative. The emotionally abusive husband who could not stand his wife having male friends. Meiji, hypothetically speaking, if someone wanted to make sure the truth came out about a situation like this, how would they do it? She grinned, showing teeth stained by 40 years of coffee and cigarettes. Hypothetically, I would say that person should fight fire with fire. Caroline has been playing dirty for months. It is time to show her what real dirty play looks like. I spent the rest of the morning driving around town, getting a feel for Derek's routine. His real estate office was in the trendy part of downtown, all glass and chrome and motivational posters about closing the deal. His car was a red BMW convertible with custom license plates that said sold. The kind of car that screamed insecurity and midlife crisis. Around noon, I parked across from his office and waited. Sure enough, Caroline's silver Lexus pulled up at 12:15. She practically skipped into his office, and 20 minutes later they came out together, heading for lunch at the same restaurant where they had been the night before. I followed them at a distance, taking pictures with my phone. Nothing illegal, nothing invasive, just documenting their public displays of affection. The kind of evidence that would be useful if Caroline tried to claim their relationship started after our separation. While they were at lunch, I drove to Derek's apartment complex. He lived at Arborview Towers, the most expensive building in town, the kind of place that charged extra for the privilege of looking down on everyone else. The parking garage was open to residents and visitors. I saw no security cameras. Derek's BMW was parked in space 47, probably assigned to his unit. I did not touch the car, that would come later. But I did notice something interesting. The space next to it was empty, but there were oil stains on the concrete. Fresh oil stains. Someone had been parking there regularly. Someone with a car that leaked oil. Caroline's Lexus had a small oil leak that she had been ignoring for months despite my offers to fix it for her. My phone rang. Lenny, boss, are you feeling better? I have got a couple of repairs that could use your touch. I will be there in an hour. Hey, Lenny, do you still have that friend who works at the cell phone store? The one who helped us recover those photos from Mrs. Henderson's water-damaged phone. Yes, why I might need his help with a data recovery project. Completely legal. Of course. Jack is good people, discreet too. Perfect. Set up a meeting for tomorrow. I spent the afternoon at the shop, going through the motions of fixing other people's problems while my mind worked on the larger puzzle. Caroline thought she was playing chess while I was playing checkers. She was about to learn that I had been studying the board for a lot longer than she imagined. Around 5, I got a text from Caroline. Working late again tonight. Do not wait up for me. I replied. No problem, love you. The lies came so easily now, but I had learned from the best. Instead of going back to the motel, I drove to the Lakeside Grill and waited in the parking lot. Sure enough, Caroline and Derek showed up at 7, holding hands like lovesick teenagers. They asked for a table on the patio, probably thinking they were being romantic. I called Meiji. Are you busy tonight? Never too busy for drama. What do you need? I'm in the mood for dinner at the lakeside. My treat. Oh, this is going to be good. Meiji arrived 20 minutes later, dressed in her Sunday best. We got a table inside with a clear view of the patio. Caroline and Derek were so absorbed in each other they never noticed us. Look at them, Meiji said, cutting into her steak, acting like they invented adultery. Your wife has a lot of nerve. I will give her that. She always has. I just never saw it so clearly before. So what is the plan? Are you going to confront them eventually? Yes, but not here. Not like this. Caroline is expecting me to be the jealous husband who makes a scene in public. That just plays into her narrative that I'm unstable, smart. So what? I'm going to give her exactly what she wants. A divorce, but not on her terms. Meiji raised her wine glass for justice, served cold, very cold. We finished our dinner and left before Caroline and Derek. I dropped Meiji back at her bar and then returned to my motel room to plan my next moves. I had proof of the affair, but that was just the beginning. If Caroline wanted to play dirty, I was going to show her what playing dirty really was. My laptop was old, but functional, and the motel Wi-Fi was surprisingly decent. I created a new email account and started documenting everything I had learned. Photos, timestamps, witness testimony, screenshots of Caroline's messages. Then I did something that felt both liberating and terrifying. I changed all the passwords on our joint accounts, bank accounts, credit cards, utilities, streaming services, everything. Caroline had been so confident in my cluelessness that she had never bothered to set up her own access to our financial accounts. That was about to become a problem for her. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It is Joel from Caroline's office. We met at the Christmas party last year. Can we talk? It is about your wife. Interesting. Joel was a co-worker of Caroline's, a quiet guy who always seemed uncomfortable around her. I had assumed he was shy, but maybe there was more to it. I replied, sure. When and where? Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., coffee shop on Main Street. Come alone. The plot was thickening. Caroline thought she had all the angles covered, but it seemed her web of lies was starting to unravel. People were choosing sides, and not everyone was choosing hers. That night, I fell asleep with a smile on my face for the first time in months. Tomorrow was going to be very interesting. I, Eli, was already waiting when I arrived at the coffee shop, hunched over a large black coffee like a man who had not slept in days. He was younger than me, maybe 35, with that nervous energy that comes from keeping secrets. "Thanks for meeting me," he said as I sat down. I was not sure if I should get involved, but after what I heard yesterday. "What did you hear?" Joel looked around the nearly empty coffee shop, then leaned forward. "Caroline has been telling everyone at work that you are an abuser. She has this whole story about how you monitor her phone, control her money, threaten her friends. She even showed up to work with a bruise on her arm last week, claiming you grabbed her." The blood ran cold in my veins. I have never laid a hand on her. "I know. That is why I'm here." Joel took out his phone. I saw her give herself that bruise. She was in the stockroom, hitting her arm against the metal shelves. When she came out, she was crying and talking about how she needed to document everything for her lawyer. "Did you record this?" "The security camera caught it. I'm the IT guy at the office, so I have access to all the footage. I made a copy before anyone else could see it." Joel slid a flash drive across the table. "There is more. Phone records that show she has been calling Derek Foster dozens of times a day. Email chains about meeting up at hotels. She has been using the company computer for personal business, and she is not smart enough to clear her browsing history." I pocketed the flash drive, feeling like I had just been handed a winning lottery ticket. "Why are you helping me?" "Because Caroline is a manipulative witch who has been making my life hell for 2 years. Joel's quiet demeanor cracked, revealing a genuine anger. "She got me a disciplinary write-up last month for inappropriate comments after I did not cover for her when she left early to meet Derek. She has been trying to get me fired ever since." "What do you want in return?" "Nothing, just the satisfaction of seeing her get what she deserves." He stood up, leaving money on the table. "Be careful. Eli is more dangerous than you think, and she has got Miranda convinced that you are planning to hurt her." After Joel left, I stayed in the coffee shop for another hour, processing what I had learned. Caroline was not just cheating and lying. She was actively framing me for domestic abuse. The bruise on her arm, the stories about my controlling behavior, the careful documentation of my threats. It was all part of a calculated plan to destroy me in the divorce proceedings, but now I had proof of her deception. More than that, I had allies, people who had seen through her act and were willing to help expose the truth. My phone rang. "Caroline, Eli, where are you? I came home and your things are gone. I'm staying at the motel for a few days. I thought we could both use some space." "Space? What are you talking about? And why can I not access our bank accounts?" "The website says my password is wrong. I changed the passwords for security reasons." There was a long pause. When Caroline spoke again, her voice was different. Harder. "Eli, what is going on? You are scaring me." "I'm scaring you. That is interesting, considering you have been telling people I'm an abuser." Another pause. "I do not know what you are talking about." "Of course you do not. Just like you do not know anything about Derek Foster. Derek is just a friend. I cannot help it if you are too insecure." "Cut the act, Caroline. I know about the affair. I know about the hotels, the pictures, the plans to divorce me. I know you gave yourself that bruise to frame me for domestic violence." Silence. Then, in a low voice, "Prove it. I will in court in front of everyone who matters." "You wanted to play, Caroline? Well, let the games begin." I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from anticipation. For months I had been playing defense, reacting to Caroline's moves, trying to save a marriage that was already over. Now I was on offense, and it felt incredible. My next stop was Arbor by Towers. I wanted to get a better look at Derek's environment, maybe gather some information about his routine. The parking garage was busier during the day, with residents coming and going, but no one paid any attention to another middle-aged man in work clothes. Derek's BMW was gone, but Caroline's Lexus was parked in the adjacent space. The oil stain was definitely from her car. There were fresh drips on the concrete. She was spending her days at his apartment while I was at work, playing house with her boyfriend. I took pictures of the oil stains, the parking spaces, the building directory that showed Derek Foster in Unit 4B. All evidence that would support the timeline of their affair. On my way out, I ran into Mrs. Harper, our elderly neighbor from 3 streets over. She was carrying groceries and struggling with the heavy bags. "Eli, what are you doing here?" "Visiting a friend," I said, taking her bags. "Let me help you with these." "You are a dear. Caroline is lucky to have you." She paused in the elevator. "Although between you and me, I have been worried about her lately. She seems different. Different how well? I saw her here last week, and she was with a man I did not recognize. Very handsome, very well dressed. They were quite affectionate. Mrs. Harper lowered her voice. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but it did not look like a business meeting. You are not speaking out of turn, Mrs. Harper. Thank you for telling me. Marriage is hard work, Eli, but it is worth fighting for if both people are willing to try. Yes, ma'am, it is. But some marriages were not worth fighting for. Some marriages were worth ending properly, with dignity and the truth on your side. I spent the rest of the day at the shop, working on repairs and thinking about my next moves. Lenny had set up a meeting with Jack, his friend from the cell phone store, for that evening. If Jack was as good as Lenny claimed, he could help me recover some deleted messages from Caroline's old phone, the one she had accidentally dropped last month and replaced immediately. Around 6, Caroline started calling. I let it go to voicemail. She called 5 more times, each message more frantic than the last. Eli, we need to talk. This is crazy. I love you. Please call me back. I know we can fix this. I'm coming to the shop. We are going to sort this out. Miranda thinks I should call the police. She says you are having some kind of nervous breakdown. Fine, do not call me back, but you are making a big mistake. The last message was different, colder, more like the real Caroline. I try to do this the nice way, Eli, but if you want to make it hard, I can play that game too. You have no idea what you are up against. Actually, I was starting to get a pretty good idea, and Caroline was about to learn that she had seriously underestimated her opponent. Jack turned out to be a skinny kid with thick glasses and an impressive knowledge of data recovery. He examined Caroline's damaged phone under a magnifying glass, probing at the circuit board with tiny tools. Water damage, but not too bad. He said, the memory chip is intact. I can probably recover most of the data, but it will take a day or two. What kind of data are we talking about? Text messages, photos, call logs, app data, basically everything that was on the phone when it got wet. Jack looked up from his work. This is legal, right? I mean, it is your wife's phone. Completely legal. We are married, and I pay the phone bill. I just need to recover some family photos that were lost when the phone was damaged. Family photos, right? Jacques did not look convinced, but he did not ask any more questions. I will call you when it is ready. I left the phone with Jacques and went back to the motel. Caroline's car was in the parking lot, and she was sitting on the steps outside my room, looking small and vulnerable. The performance was impressive. If I did not know the truth, I might have felt sorry for her. Eli, please, can we talk? We can talk, but not here. I pointed to the coffee shop across the street. Public place, neutral ground. She nodded, wiping away tears that may or may not have been real. The coffee shop was busy enough to provide cover for our conversation, but quiet enough that we could hear each other. Caroline ordered a coffee she did not drink and looked at me as if she were seeing a stranger. I do not understand what is happening, she said. Yesterday we were married, and today you are treating me like the enemy. Yesterday I was ignorant. Today I'm informed. Big difference. Informed about what? That I have male friends, that I sometimes need space from our marriage. Informed that you have been sleeping with Derek Foster for 3 months while planning to frame me for domestic abuse in the divorce proceedings. Caroline's mask slipped for a moment, and I saw the real her underneath, cold, calculating, trapped, but not sorry. You cannot prove any of that. I can prove all of it. Photos, messages, testimony, security footage. You have been careless, Caroline. Or maybe you wanted to get caught. What do you want? Money. I will give you half of everything. More than half. I do not want your money. I want the truth to come out. I want everyone who heard your lies about me to know what kind of person you really are. Caroline leaned back in her seat, and when she spoke again, her voice was pure venom. You think you are so clever, do you not? The clever little repairman who figured out his wife's secret. But you have no idea what you are dealing with. I will destroy you, Eli. I will make sure everyone in this town knows what a pathetic, controlling loser you are. When I'm done with you, you will not have a business, you will not have any friends, you will not have anything. Is that a threat? It is a promise. She stood up and walked out of the coffee shop, leaving me with the bill and a crystal clear understanding of what I was up against. Caroline was not just unfaithful, she was malicious. She wanted to hurt me, to punish me for the crime of discovering her betrayal, but she had made one crucial mistake. She thought I was the same passive, accommodating husband I had been for 20 years. She thought I would roll over and let her destroy me rather than fight back. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The next morning brought the first salvo in Caroline's campaign to destroy me. I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages from friends, family, and clients. The gist was the same. Caroline had been calling people all night, crying and claiming that I had threatened her, stolen her money, and was having a mental breakdown. The most troubling message was from Officer Tom Ranking, an old high school friend who joined the police force after graduation. Eli, I got a call from your wife last night. She claims you threatened her, and she is afraid for her safety. I know you, and this does not sound right, but I have to investigate. Can you stop by the station this morning just to talk? So Caroline was escalating to involve law enforcement. Smart move. If she could get me arrested for domestic violence, even if the charges were later dropped, it would support her narrative and give her leverage in the divorce proceedings. I called Tom on my way to the station. Tom, it is Eli. I got your message. Hey man. Thanks for calling back. Look, I do not know what is going on between you and Caroline, but she was pretty worked up last night. Said you have been acting erratically, making threats, controlling her finances. Tom, I have never threatened my wife. Ever. But I did find out she has been having an affair. And I did change the passwords on our accounts to protect our assets during what is obviously going to be a divorce. Seriously, an affair. 3 months with Derek Foster, the real estate guy. I have proof, photos, messages, testimony. Caroline has been planning this divorce for months, and part of her strategy involves painting me as an abuser. There was a long pause. Do you have proof of that? Yes, and I will share it with you when I come in if that is okay. I want to get all of this documented properly. Yes, absolutely. Eli, I'm sorry, man. I had to follow up on her complaint, but between you and me, something did not sit right with her story. Caroline has always been dramatic. Tom was being diplomatic. Caroline had never liked his wife and had made that clear at every social gathering for the past decade. She thought she was better than Tom's family, better than most people in town. The police station was busy for a Thursday morning, but Tom met me in the lobby and took me to a small conference room. I brought copies of everything, the photos, the text messages Joel had given me, the security footage of Caroline giving herself the bruise. Tom reviewed the evidence with growing astonishment. Eli, she has really done a number on you. The question is, what can you do about it? She filed a false police report and has been telling people I'm an abuser when she knows it is not true. Filing a false report is a misdemeanor, but it is hard to prove unless she admits it was false. The defamation thing is more of a civil matter. Tom leaned back in his chair. But I can document everything you have shown me. And if she tries to escalate this, claiming you actually hit her or threatened her directly, we will have proof that she has been manufacturing a narrative. That is something, at least more than something. Look, Eli, I have seen this before. Messy divorces where one spouse tries to get an advantage by claiming abuse. Usually the truth comes out eventually, but it can take time and cause a lot of damage. In the meantime, what would you do if you were me? Tom considered the question carefully. I would document everything, every interaction, every conversation, every lie she tells, and I would be very careful not to give her any ammunition to use against me. No angry confrontations or heated arguments. Nothing she can twist into evidence of aggressive behavior. And what about her reputation? She has been trashing mine all over town. That is where you have an advantage. Most people in this town know you, Eli. You have been fixing their appliances for 15 years. You are fair and honest. You do not cause trouble. Caroline, well, let's just say she has made some enemies over the years. Tom was right. Caroline had always been condescending to people she considered beneath her social status. Store clerks, waitresses, repair technicians, anyone in a service job. She had burned bridges all over town with her superior attitude. One more thing, Tom said as I was getting ready to leave. Watch your back. If Caroline is as calculating as this evidence suggests, she is not going to give up easily. She might try to provoke you into doing something stupid. I will be careful. Good. And Eli, I'm sorry this is happening to you. You deserve better. From the station, I drove to my shop. There were 3 customers waiting outside. Word was getting around that I might be unstable, and people were worried about their repairs. I opened up and spent the morning reassuring customers that I was fine. Their appliances were safe, and the rumors they had heard were part of a messy divorce situation. Most people were understanding. A few were disappointed that there was not more drama to gossip about. Around noon, Lenny pulled me aside. Boss, we have got a problem. Derek Foster has been calling all over town, telling people you threatened him and his property. He says you are dangerous and people should be careful about doing business with you. Did he file a police report? I do not think so, but he is definitely trying to damage your reputation. So Derek was joining Caroline's campaign. It made sense. They were in this together now, and my destruction would benefit them both. Lenny, I need you to do something for me. You know people all over town, right? From high school, from the bars, from your other jobs. Sure, boss, I get around. I need you to spread the word about what is really going on. Caroline has been cheating on me with Derek for months, and now they are trying to destroy my reputation to cover their tracks. Do not make it sound like gossip. Make it sound like you are concerned that people are being manipulated. I can do that. People do not like being lied to, especially by rich people who think they are better than everyone else. Exactly. And Lenny, be careful. Caroline and Derek are going to play dirty, and I do not want you to get caught in the crossfire. Do not worry about me, boss. I can take care of myself. That evening, Jack called. The data from Caroline's phone was ready. You are going to want to see this, he said when I got to his shop. Your wife was a busy woman. The recovered data was damning. Text messages between Caroline and Derek, going back 4 months, discussing their affair, their plans for the future, and their strategy for handling me. Photos of them together in various locations around town and beyond. Most damning of all, a series of messages between Caroline and Miranda about how to build a case against me. Caroline, I need more proof of his controlling behavior. The lawyer says emotional abuse is harder to prove than physical. Miranda, what about the money? Does he not handle all your finances? Caroline, that is normal. However, many husbands manage the money. I need something more dramatic. Miranda, could you record him yelling at you? Make him angry and then record his reaction. Caroline, good idea. Or maybe I will just document some bruises. Who is going to say where they came from? The messages painted a clear picture of premeditated fraud. Caroline and Miranda had been planning to frame me for domestic abuse for weeks before Caroline gave herself that bruise at work. Jacques, I need copies of all of this. Multiple copies in different formats. Already done. I figured this was important. He handed me several flash drives and a thick folder of printed messages. Eli, I do not know your wife, but based on these messages, she is seriously messed up. Yes, I'm starting to realize that. I spent the night at the motel, organizing all my evidence into a comprehensive file. Photos, messages, testimony, police reports, security footage. I had enough material not to defend myself, but to completely destroy Caroline's credibility. The question was how to use it most effectively. My phone rang around 9. Tom Rank, Eli. I need you to know that Caroline filed another report tonight. She claims you broke into Derek Foster's apartment and vandalized his car. I have been in my motel all night. I can prove it. The desk clerk saw me. I ordered room service. I have the receipts. Good. Because Derek's BMW was keyed pretty badly, and someone put sugar in his gas tank. He is claiming it was you. It was not me, but I cannot say I'm sorry it happened. Tom chuckled. Yes, well, between you and me, Derek Foster has had it coming for a long time. The guy is a slimeball who has been ripping off clients and sleeping with married women for years. But officially, I have to investigate. Investigate all you want. You will find I had nothing to do with it. I believe you. But Eli, this proves my point about Caroline escalating things. She is trying to make you look unstable and violent. Do not give her any ammunition. After Tom hung up, I sat on my motel bed and thought about Derek's vandalized car. I really had not done it, but I had a pretty good idea of who might have. Lenny had been spreading the word about Caroline and Derek's affair, and Derek was not popular in town to begin with. It could have been any number of people who decided to send him a message. Or it could have been Caroline herself, creating more evidence of my supposed violent behavior. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Stop trying to destroy my life, or you will regret it. This is your only warning. Derek, trying to sound tough. I screenshotted the message and added it to my evidence file. Threatening messages were a crime, and Derek was apparently too stupid to realize he was creating evidence of his own bad behavior. I replied, I'm not trying to destroy your life, Derek. I'm just telling the truth about it. There is a difference. His reply came immediately. The truth, according to a pathetic loser who cannot satisfy his own wife. Another screenshot for the evidence file. Derek was making this easy for me. The truth, according to security cameras, phone records, and testimony. But thanks for the threatening messages. My lawyer is going to love them. Derek did not reply after that. Apparently, he had realized that provoking me via text message was not the smartest strategy. But Caroline was not done for the night. Around 11, she showed up at the motel with Miranda in tow, both of them clearly drunk and looking for a confrontation. I watched from my window as they staggered across the parking lot, looking for my room number. Caroline was crying and yelling, putting on a show for anyone who might be watching. Eli, I know you are in here. We need to talk. Miranda was trying to calm her down, but she was just as drunk and just as loud. Come on, Caroline, let's go. He is obviously not here. He is here. His truck is here. Eli, stop being a coward and face me. I called Tom Rank. Tom, Caroline and Miranda are at my motel, drunk and making a scene. I'm staying in my room, but I wanted you to know in case someone calls in a disturbance. I will send a patrol car. Do not engage with them, Eli. Let us handle it. That is the plan. The patrol car arrived 10 minutes later, and I watched through my window as the officer, someone I did not recognize, spoke with Caroline and Miranda. Caroline was gesticulating wildly, probably making up some story about how I was hiding from her and refusing to discuss our marriage. After a few minutes, the officer escorted both women to Miranda's car and watched them leave. Then he knocked on my door. Mr. Brox, Officer Martinez, I understand you are having some domestic issues. Yes, sir. My wife and I are separated, and she has been dramatic about it. She claims you are avoiding service of divorce papers and refuse to communicate about your marriage. Officer, I have been at this motel for 3 days. If someone wants to serve me papers, I'm not hard to find, and I'm happy to communicate about our marriage in a lawyer's office with proper representation. Martinez nodded. That sounds reasonable. Your wife seemed pretty worked up, but she also seemed pretty drunk. I told her to go home and handle this through the proper legal channels. Thank you, officer. No problem. Just try to keep the drama to a minimum, okay? We have enough real crimes to deal with. After Martinez left, I sat on my bed and realized that the war Caroline had declared was just beginning. She was going to keep escalating, keep trying to provoke me into doing something stupid that would support her narrative about my abusive and unstable behavior. But I was not the same man she had been married to for 20 years. That man would have tried to reason with her, would have bent over backwards to avoid conflict, would have let her walk all over him in the name of keeping the peace. This man was done keeping the peace. This man was ready to fight back with everything he had, and Caroline was about to learn that when you corner a man with nothing left to lose, you had better be prepared for the consequences. Friday morning brought news that changed everything. I was having coffee at the diner when Gosevan slid into the booth across from me, grinning like she had won the lottery. You are going to love this, she said, pulling out her phone. Remember how I told you everyone in town knows about Caroline and Dire? Well, someone decided to make sure everyone knows for real. She showed me a Facebook post that had been shared dozens of times overnight. It was a compilation of photos showing Caroline and Derek together in various locations around town, with timestamps that proved the affair had been going on for months. The caption read, "When you, girls' night includes Derek Foster. Poor Eli Brox deserves better than this." Who posted this? An anonymous account, but it has been shared all over town. Caroline is getting roasted in the comments. People are pissed that she has been lying about you being an abuser when she is the one who has been cheating. I scrolled through the comments, amazed at the outpouring of support. People I barely knew were defending me and calling out Caroline's behavior. The narrative she had been trying to create was falling apart in real time. There is more, Meiji said. Derek's real estate office got about 50 calls yesterday from people canceling listings and appointments. Turns out people do not want to do business with a homewrecker. And Caroline's job, that is the best part. Her boss called her into a meeting this morning. Apparently someone sent them the security footage of her giving herself that bruise, plus copies of all those text messages about framing you for abuse. Joel had made good on his promise to expose Caroline's lies. I made a mental note to thank him properly. My phone rang. Caroline, of course. Eli, we need to meet right now. This has gone too far. I'm listening. Someone has been spreading lies about me all over social media. People are insulting me, threatening me. My boss is talking about firing me. You have to make it stop. I should make it stop. Caroline, I did not post anything on social media. I did not call your boss. I did not force you to have an affair or fake domestic violence. You did all of that on your own. Was it you or one of your friends? This is harassment, and I'm going to press charges. Go ahead. Press charges against everyone in town who shared those photos. Sue the internet. See how that works out for you. Meet me at the house in an hour, or I'm calling my lawyer. Call your lawyer. But if you want to meet, we do it at the lawyer's office with proper representation. I'm done with private conversations that you can twist into evidence of threatening behavior. She hung up on me, but I knew she would call back. Caroline was used to getting her way through manipulation and emotional blackmail. She was finding out that those tactics no longer worked on me. I spent the morning at my shop, catching up on repairs and taking calls from customers who wanted to express their support. The news of Caroline's cheating had spread quickly, and public opinion was firmly on my side. Around noon, Lenny burst through the door with news. Boss, you have got to see this. Derek Foster just got arrested. Arrested for what? Tax evasion. Apparently, he has been hiding income from real estate deals for years. The IRS raided his office this morning and found evidence of fraud going back to 2019. This was unexpected, but welcome news. Derek's legal troubles would distract him from his campaign against me, and might even implicate Caroline if she had been involved in his financial schemes. How do you know all this? My cousin works at the courthouse. He says Derek is facing serious federal charges. There could be prison time. Caroline's boyfriend was facing a federal indictment. Her job was on the line. Her reputation was in tatters. The perfect life she had been planning was falling apart, and she was getting desperate. Desperate people do stupid things. My phone rang. Tom rang. Eli, I need to let you know. Caroline just filed for a restraining order against you. She claims you have been harassing and threatening her through third parties. Thanks, Tom. I have not been anywhere near her. I know, but she has a hearing scheduled for Monday morning, and if the judge grants it, you will be legally required to stay away from her and from your own house. Can she do that temporarily? Yes. Restraining orders are easy to get and hard to fight, but the good news is you will have a chance to present your evidence at the hearing. Bring everything you have, the photos, the messages, the security footage. Show the judge what she has really been up to. I will. Thanks for the heads up. No problem. And Eli, be very careful this weekend. Do not go near Caroline or your house. Do not give her any excuse to claim you violated the temporary order. After Tom hung up, I realized that Caroline was making her final play. If she could get a restraining order, she could claim the house, control the narrative, and cast herself as the victim of an abusive husband. It was actually a smart strategy. If she could convince a judge that I was dangerous, all of her other lies would seem more credible. But she had made one crucial mistake. She thought I was still the passive, accommodating husband who would roll over rather than fight back publicly. She did not realize that I had been documenting everything, building a case, preparing for exactly this kind of escalation. Monday's hearing was going to be very interesting. I spent the weekend organizing my evidence and preparing my testimony. I had photos, text messages, security footage, witness statements, and police reports. Enough material not only to defend myself against Caroline's restraining order, but to expose her entire campaign of lies. On Sunday night, I got a call from Joel. Eli, I thought you should know that Caroline cleared out her office on Friday. She took everything personal and deleted files from her computer. Did she quit? Fired. The security footage of her faking that bruise was the last straw. But before she left, she was making copies of client files and contact information. I think she is planning something. Like what? I do not know, but she was asking a lot of questions about the company's social media accounts and client database. She might be planning to sabotage the business on her way out. Caroline was going scorched earth, burning bridges and destroying relationships rather than accept responsibility for her actions. It was exactly what I expected from someone who had spent months planning to frame her husband for domestic abuse. Monday morning dawned gray and cold, matching my mood as I drove to the courthouse. I had barely slept, running through possible scenarios and bracing myself for Caroline's lies. But I was ready, more than ready. I was eager to finally tell my side of the story. The hearing was in a small courtroom with only a few spectators. Caroline sat at one table with a lawyer I did not recognize, looking pale but determined. I sat at another table with my evidence files, representing myself. Judge Patricia Coleman was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s who had handled domestic cases for decades. She had seen every kind of manipulation and deceit, and she had a reputation for cutting through the BS to get to the truth. Caroline's lawyer spoke first, painting a picture of an abusive husband who had become increasingly controlling and threatening as their marriage deteriorated. He presented Caroline's testimony about my erratic behavior, the changed passwords, the stalking, and the harassment via social media. Caroline took the stand and delivered an Oscar-worthy performance, complete with tears and a trembling voice as she described her fear of my violent tendencies and obsessive behavior. Then it was my turn. I presented the evidence methodically, piece by piece. The photos of Caroline and Derek, together with timestamps that proved the affair had been going on for months. The text messages discussing their plans to frame me for abuse. The security footage of Caroline giving herself the bruise she claimed I had inflicted. Judge Coleman examined each piece of evidence carefully, asking pointed questions about authenticity and chain of custody. She was particularly interested in the text messages between Caroline and Miranda about how to build a case against me. "Mrs. Brox," she said finally, "do you recognize these text messages?" Caroline's lawyer objected, but Judge Coleman overruled him. "Yes, Your Honor, but they are taken out of context. I was just discussing how to fabricate evidence of domestic abuse against your husband." Caroline's composure broke. "He was controlling me. He changed all our passwords. He was monitoring my activities because you were having an affair and planning to divorce him while claiming he was abusive. According to this evidence, you were planning to defraud him in the divorce proceedings." The hearing lasted 3 hours. When it was over, Judge Coleman not only denied Caroline's request for a restraining order, but she referred the matter to the district attorney's office for a possible investigation into filing false reports and perjury. Caroline's left the courthouse in tears. Her lawyer looked embarrassed and angry. I left with a sense of vindication I had not felt in months. But the war was not over yet. Tuesday morning brought the final act of Caroline's destruction, though it was nothing I had planned or orchestrated. Sometimes justice serves itself. I was opening my shop when Tom Rankin called with news that made my day. "Eli, you are going to want to sit down for this. Caroline and Derek were arrested last night. Both of them. For what? Insurance fraud. Remember that cabin Derek has been using for his romantic getaways? Turns out it belongs to one of his real estate clients, an elderly woman who has been in a nursing home for 2 years. Derek has been using it without permission, and he filed a fraudulent insurance claim when it was damaged in a storm last month. How does Caroline fit into this? She was with him when he filed the claim, posed as the homeowner, and signed the paperwork. Federal offense, since it involved mail and wire fraud across state lines. I sat down heavily in my office chair, stunned at the scope of Caroline and Derek's stupidity. They had been so focused on destroying me that they had gotten sloppy with their other criminal activities. What kind of charges are they facing? Derek is already facing tax evasion charges, and now he is looking at serious prison time. Caroline's charges are less severe, but she is still facing a felony fraud charge. Her lawyer will probably try to cut a deal. Claim she was manipulated by Derek. Manipulated, right, because Caroline is such an innocent victim. Yes. Well, good luck selling that story to a jury after what came out in yesterday's hearing. Judge Coleman's report will be part of the case file, including all that evidence about Caroline faking domestic violence. After Tom hung up, I sat in my shop and tried to process what had happened. In less than a week, Caroline had lost her job, her reputation, her boyfriend, and her freedom. The perfect life she had been planning had turned into a nightmare of her own making. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt empty. 20 years of marriage reduced to criminal charges and public humiliation. Lenny came in with coffee and donuts, grinning like he had won the lottery. "Boss, have you heard? Caroline and Derek were arrested. It is all over town. People are saying Derek has been running scams for years, and Caroline was helping him. I have heard. You do not seem happy." "I'm not unhappy. It is just complicated. She is my wife, you know? Even after everything she did, it is hard to watch her destroy herself like this." Lenny studied my face. "Do you still love her?" "I love the woman I thought she was, the woman I married 20 years ago. But that woman probably never existed. Caroline has been lying and manipulating people her whole life. I was just too blind to see it." The day passed in a blur. A few customers came in with repairs, and several people stopped by just to express their support and share gossip about Caroline and Derek's arrests. By closing time, I was exhausted from answering questions and pretending to be okay with my wife's public downfall. I was locking up when Miranda showed up in my parking lot, looking haggard and desperate. Eli, we need to talk. I do not think that is a good idea. Miranda, you have been helping Caroline lie about me for months. I know, and I'm sorry, but you have to understand. Caroline is sick. She has been lying to me too, manipulating me, just like she manipulated you. What do you want? She is going to prison, Eli. Her lawyer says she is facing 2 to 5 years, maybe more if they can prove she was involved in Derek's other schemes. She is ruined. Her family is not speaking to her, and she has no one left. That is not my problem anymore. She wants to see you to apologize, to try to make things right. I looked at Miranda, really looked at her for the first time in years. She was scared and guilt-ridden, finally realizing she had been enabling a sociopath. Miranda, Caroline does not want to apologize. She wants to manipulate me one more time to see if she can get me to help her, forgive her, or provide some kind of support. That is what she does. That is what she has always done. But what if she is really sorry? What if she is ready to tell the truth about everything? Then she can tell her lawyer, a judge, or a therapist. But she cannot tell me. I'm done being her victim. Miranda started to cry. I'm so sorry, Eli. I believed her stories about you being controlling and abusive. I thought I was helping a friend escape a bad marriage. You were helping a friend destroy an innocent man's life. There is a difference. I know that now. Is there anything I can do to make it right? You can tell the truth. If anyone asks you about Caroline's lies, you tell them the truth. That is all I want from anyone, just the truth. Miranda nodded and walked back to her car, leaving me alone in the parking lot of my shop, the place where I had built my reputation over 15 years of honest work. The reputation Caroline had tried to destroy with her lies, but I was still standing. My business was intact. My friends and clients were behind me, and the truth had finally come out. Caroline's campaign to destroy me had backfired spectacularly, destroying her instead. Wednesday morning brought a call from Caroline's lawyer requesting a meeting to discuss a possible reconciliation and mutual support during this difficult time. I politely declined and referred him to my own lawyer. Yes, I had finally hired one too to handle the divorce proceedings. Thursday brought news that Derek had accepted a plea deal with the prosecution, pleading guilty to multiple counts of fraud in exchange for a reduced sentence. His cooperation would likely implicate Caroline in additional crimes, making her legal situation even worse. Friday brought the final piece of the puzzle. Joel called to tell me that Caroline's former employer was pressing charges for theft of proprietary information and attempted sabotage of client relationships. She had been trying to steal their client database to start her own competing business, apparently planning to fund her legal defense by poaching their clients. She never stops, does she? Joel said. Even when she is facing prison, she is still trying to run scams. That is Caroline. She thinks the rules do not apply to her, that she can lie and cheat her way out of any situation. Well, she is about to learn that is not the case. Her arraignment is next week, and the word is the DA is not interested in deals. They want to make an example of her. That weekend I finally went back to my house. Caroline's belongings were gone, either taken by her or removed by the police as evidence. The place felt empty, but peaceful, like a weight had been lifted. I walked through the rooms we had shared for so many years, remembering the good times before I knew they were all built on lies. The kitchen where Caroline had kissed me goodbye every morning while planning to betray me. The bedroom where she had slept beside me while texting her lover. The living room where she had rehearsed her lies about my abusive behavior. But those memories no longer had any power over me. Caroline was facing years in prison for her crimes. Derek was ruined professionally and financially. Miranda was consumed with guilt for her role in their deception. Everyone who had participated in the campaign to destroy me had been destroyed themselves. I had not planned it that way. I had simply defended myself by telling the truth. And the truth had been powerful enough to bring all of Caroline's lies crashing down. On Monday morning, I opened my shop as usual. The phone was ringing with customers who needed repairs, people who trusted me to fix their problems honestly and competently. The work that had sustained me through 20 years of marriage would sustain me through whatever came next. Lenny came in with the morning's gossip. Caroline's arraignment had been moved up. Derek was cooperating with federal investigators. Miranda was seeing a therapist to deal with her guilt over enabling Caroline's lies. Boss, Do you ever think about what would have happened if you had not found out about the affair? If Caroline had gotten away with it? I considered the question as I replaced a circuit board in Mrs. Patterson's microwave. I would probably be in jail right now, or at least facing domestic violence charges I never committed. Caroline would have the house, the business, everything we built together. Derek would have moved in, and they would be living my life while I rotted in a cell. That is scary, man. She really had it all planned out. Yes, but she made one crucial mistake. What was that? She underestimated me. She thought I was the same passive, accommodating guy she had been married to for 20 years. She did not realize that finding out about her betrayal would change me, would make me willing to fight back. And now what? Are you going to start dating again? Try to find someone who does not try to frame you for domestic violence. I laughed. The first genuine laugh I had had in months. I think I'm going to focus on myself for a while. Fix my own life before I try to share it with someone else. That is probably smart. You deserve better than Caroline, boss. A lot better. Yes, I do. And now I know it. The bell over my door rang, and Tom Ranking walked in, looking official in his police uniform. Eli, you got a minute? Sure. What is up? Caroline's sentencing hearing is next month. The prosecutor wants to know if you are planning to give a victim impact statement. I thought about it. Standing up in court, telling a judge how Caroline's lies had affected me, seeing her face as I described the pain and humiliation she had caused. No, I said finally. I have said everything I needed to say. Caroline's actions speak louder than any statement I could make. Tom nodded in approval. That is probably the right call. She is looking at 3 to 7 years anyway. Your statement would not change that. 3 to 7 years, multiple felony counts, plus the perjury charges from the restraining order hearing. She is going away for a long time, Eli. After Tom left, I went back to work, but I could not stop thinking about Caroline spending the next several years in prison. The woman who had been so concerned with her image, her reputation, her social status, locked up with real criminals, but I could not feel sorry for her. She had made her choices, committed her crimes, hurt innocent people in pursuit of her own selfish goals. The consequences were entirely of her own making. That night, I sat on my back porch with a beer, watching the sun set over the town where I had lived my entire adult life. The place where Caroline had tried to destroy me, where her lies had been exposed, where justice had finally prevailed. My phone vibrated with a text from an unknown number. It is Caroline. I'm sorry for everything. I know you will never forgive me, but I needed you to know I'm sorry. I looked at the message for a long time, then deleted it without replying. Caroline had had 20 years to be honest with me, to treat me with respect, to be the partner I deserved. She had chosen lies, betrayal, and cruelty instead. I'm sorry now was too little, too late. I finished my beer and went inside, closing the door behind me. Tomorrow would bring new customers, new problems to solve, new opportunities to help people and build something positive. The Caroline chapter of my life was over. Whatever came next would be built on truth, integrity, and the hard-won knowledge that I was stronger than I ever imagined. The one with everything to lose had won, and it felt incredibly good.